This is NFR 445 Live, sponsored by Silverton Casino Hotel. Join them nightly for Wrangler NFR viewing and after parties at Silverton Casino Hotel.
Hello, howdy, and welcome to Day 7 of the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo here at the Thomas and Mack Center. I'm Amber Dixon. We have just 4 rounds left, and my guest this evening for NFR 445 Live is Buddy Hawkins, a team roper, and also, part of a partnership in which you are in your 4th NFR total, but second with not Andre Ward. I'm so sorry. That is a boxer, Andrew Ward.
Very close.
Your second NFR with Andrew Ward, who is also your brother-in-law.
That's right.
Because you married a pair of sisters. So how did that come to be? First off, did you meet your wife first and she say, hey, you want to meet this guy? Or did you meet him first and he said, I want you to meet my wife's sister?
Yeah, so it would sound better if it was the earlier, but it was more the later. So I've actually known Andrew and his wife Haley Andrew for probably 15 years and Haley for probably 8 or 10. And I actually never knew Haley had a sister. I always really got along good with Haley, got along good with Andrew. And then it just so happened after Andrew and I kind of formed our partnership, so Andrew and Haley got married in the spring of 2019. Andrew and I started roping in the fall of 2019, and that fall, as we're going to rodeos, he mentions Haley's sister. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know she had a sister. And so within the course of about 2 weeks, I knew she existed, started talking to her, and then 20-some days later, we got married. So it was wildfire. So I knew she existed for 40 days, and we were married. But love at first sight, match made in heaven, all those details. But it did go from team roping partnership to relationship, not the other way.
Did she have to come out and see how you perform first?
You know what? She absolutely did. So she kind of got into it with her sister because she flew down to see her sister on a weekend that I happened to be there, and so it kind of caused a little drama right off the bat. But so she came down, we all roped. We actually won a little bit the weekend that she came down. Then about 2 weeks later, she flew back down, we got engaged, and 2 weeks after that, she flew down and we got married.
I'm too nosy. What would the drama be?
Well, she's like, I'm going to come see you, Haley, and then she spent the whole weekend with a boy.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well, special dynamic between the healer and the header. You are the healer.
That's right.
Andrew Ward is the header. Also special dynamic between you and your wife, Tori, because I believe she helps you out a lot. Yeah,
so our deal is very unique, and it would make sense that it wouldn't work for everyone. But we pretty much spend 24 hours a day together. We're expecting our firstborn in February, so she's doing a little less of the hard work activities, but she still works every day, rides quite a bit still. She ropes a lot less than usual. But yeah, she helps us, just helps get me ready to come to places like this.
And what is part of that process? Because I did see some of it on your social media. You guys are out at the stalls pretty early. What kind of work are you putting in even in the morning?
Yeah, so out here in Vegas, it's very easy for us. You know, our lifestyle at home is much like you expect in a farm ranch community. And out here in Vegas, everything, it is bright lights and everything goes fast and hard. So the morning time for us is really the only time that's similar to our normal life. So in the mornings, we try not to get going too early or too fast, but we get up, drink coffee, we go to the stalls, we clean stalls, get the horses out, walk and ride, and just kind of stay around the trailer until the rest of the city is booming, and then it's time for autographs and interviews and things like that. So then obviously that bleeds over into the rodeo perf, and then, hopefully a trip to the South Point tonight.
You've been doing well at documenting your adventures here in Las Vegas on social media. On Instagram, you have 30-something thousand followers.
Well, maybe we can get that to 40-something thousand tonight.
Perhaps. I sure would follow if I was trying to learn how to be a team roper, because you do some of the intricacies. I saw a video where you were talking about tracking the route of a steer and then maybe cutting them off. But then you showed yourself working out too, which I think is considered flexing on IG,
no,
right?
I had a full-length sleeves, sweatpants. There was no flexing.
Okay, but I bring that up because I wonder how much of team roping is technical and how much strength is required.
Yeah, so that's an excellent question, and I would say it has a lot to do very similar to golf. and it's not strictly based on skill and athleticism. In that department and physical strength, but it definitely helps, and so that's kind of the direction that I go. I don't want to be a stick figure, nor do I need to be bulked up, but somewhere in the middle. And my main theory on the exercise and physical fitness is just keeping my stamina up. No matter what you're doing at a rodeo like this, there's going to be a certain level of stress and strain on your body and your mind for the whole time, and so I like to be in pretty good physical condition when I show up to an event like this. But this game is played mostly in the mind, and very much like golf, we've got guys that are in their 40s and 50s and even sometimes 60s that are making the national finals rodeo in the team roping because they have such a high skill set. It's not so physically demanding, but they're just very good at it, very similar to your major PGA players in golf.
Very interesting. You have placed in 3 of 6 rounds so far. You were as high as 3rd place in the 3rd round. What have you thought so far of your performance, and what's the strategy in these late rounds as you're grinding it out?
Yeah, so we officially cross, as far as the dollar numbers, we officially cross halfway this evening. It would seem like in the 5th round, but the way the average pays off is actually more than the go round. So your accumulated time on 10 head will pay actually the biggest check of the week, and we're sitting in contention for that. Regarding the past 6 rounds, I've been pleased and also surprised that we've won so little. Not that we've performed to the highest level, but I actually kind of expected to have placed higher in those go rounds. We're roped against the 15 greatest guys that ever swung a rope, and they're roping well, and so it's very easy to make a good run and end up like last night. I think we were 4-8 and ended up maybe 11th out of 15. So there's been a few tough rounds. We haven't been disappointed. I think what's so important is if you're gonna err, which naturally is gonna happen over the course of 10, that you err on the side of consistency versus the side of actually making a terminal mistake that could take you out of that big average race. And that's kind of the direction we've been. We've been, to put it frankly, we've been a little slow a few times, and that's why we're sitting really good in the average, and that's why we've won a little less in the go rounds. But there's also teams that have won 60 or 70,000 in the rounds, and they don't really have a very good chance in the average. So you have to kind of pick your poison. We're trying to be aggressive and trying to win something every night. When you get down to maybe the last 1 or even 2 go rounds, if you're leading the average and you're guaranteed that big check to just get times, you may kind of change your strategy. But for round 7 and round 8, we're just looking at getting money each night.
And the last question for you, tell me about your horses, their personalities, and what makes a good horse for team roping.
Well, I think it's so much about a tough horse. I go back to other sports, and if every athlete in every sport only performed on the day they felt their absolute best, they would probably perform once a year. Because regularly, you take the Olympics, for example, I don't think there's one thing at the Olympics that you can show up and do one thing one time and be done. Usually you have to perform multiple times to qualify for the Olympics and then to do well once you're there. Very similar to this sport. Our horses need to have a lot of heart and a lot of try. So I brought 2 horses out here. One I've been riding as my primary horse for about 6 years now. His name's X, and he's just got a big heart in a small package. He's got a lot of try, and he gives me the same trip every night, and it's basically up to me to jockey to the highest level to make the best runs I can make. The other horse I brought I've only owned for a couple years. His name's Easy, and I haven't put him in play yet. And normally, particularly in the heeling the event I'm in, normally a good healthy heel horse, you can get multiple consecutive NFRs without having to switch horses. And in other events, a lot of times, partway through the event, your horse is getting tired, or maybe they get sore from the strain, and you go ahead and switch. But for me, I've been blessed. Tonight will probably be my, I guess this will be my 27th steer in a row I've run on X. And so at the NFR, so I'm 3 or 4 steers away from running 30 in a row, and he's done good for me every time. Every mistake that he's made comes back to somewhere that I came up a little bit short.
I think X is the horse that photobombed you and your wife in
That's
that picture.
Right. Yeah, he snuck in there, that little bandit. Yeah, we were trying to get our evening photo. We try to get a photo each night, and he snuck right in there and got a little photo op himself.
What is your Instagram handle?
So I believe, and this sounds bad for me to not know, but I believe it's Buddy Hawkins II, 2 I's at the end. So at Buddy Hawkins II.
You'll notice because it's somebody atop a horse and in
There
action,
you go.
team roping. Thank you so much for your insight, Buddy
Oh,
Hawkins,
thanks, Amber.
team roper. Best of luck to you. We'll be watching, and for continued coverage of the NFR, go to www.lvrj.com/NFR.
You've been watching NFR 445 Live, sponsored by Silverton Casino Hotel. Join them nightly for Wrangler NFR viewing and after parties at Silverton Casino Hotel.